My name is Esteban Nembhard. I came to the Left Forum because I'm living in Washington Heights, Dyckman, and I'm seeing the crisis on a daily basis that capitalism is presenting the world. And I know that the answers for this system and this crumbling system are not within it, but outside of it. And I'm a socialist, and I wanted to sit down and break bread with like-minded people who feel like another world is possible and another world is necessary. So I was very happy to participate today and pass the mic to the one-shot general.
Right, yeah, I'm Vill. I'm an MC, Washington Heights, Dyckman. I came here just to engage, with a lot of educated minds and talk about, the state of hip-hop. And, me as an MC, I thought it was important just to see, different perspectives on hip-hop in general, and also to be amongst, fellow rappers and MC legend M1, and this was, just a great opportunity just to engage in this conversation and just give my opinions and get ideas from the listeners, basically, which were the people in the conference. So I'll just pass this mic to my man, UMI.
Yeah, my name is UMI. I'm a revolutionary giant at this point, trying to get bigger. Just trying to absorb all the information that I can, and it led me to the Left Forum with a bunch of like-minded giants. Today we was able to talk about some of the negative and positive effects of hip-hop, and who's to be held accountable for us gaining our culture back. And it was very productive. We had a great audience too that actually played the last member of the panel because they kept it engaged, and I think it was very productive. You got to check me out on umisworld.com to find out more information. That's UMISworld.com. And don't be no punk out here. Stand up for something real and look for me in the streets, the front lines, of course. Peace.
My name is Nyaka NiiLampti. I'm a psychologist and had a great opportunity to come and sit on this panel with these brothers who I've known for a while, some longer than others. And I guess it was really important for me to be here, one, as a female who grew up in the hip-hop culture, surrounded by hip-hop, and had sort of watching all of the changes that have occurred, and also as a psychologist who works with a lot of the youth and having these conversations about what are some of the things that, that we need to do with the youth within the hip-hop culture so that we can help lift them up.
My name is Mutulu Olubala, M1. I'm part of the panelists who helped to put on our panel at the Left Forum today. I'm proud to have been here and be a part of it. The thing that I like to say the most is that Karl Marx gave us that capitalism is moribund, or born with a death date. And if you know that capitalism was born seeing the end of it, that it would eat itself, then we have to be the ones who are preparing for the time when you construct what's left when this thing is dead and done. And I think that's what's happening at this forum. That's why I'm here today. That's why this, even though through the veil of hip hop, that's how this conversation was fielded. However, we are the change makers, and we are here to participate and contribute with the rest of the world in discovering what real change looks like. Thank you, and salute.
When Geronimo Pratt got out of prison, I heard him talking about how he, towards the end of his time in prison, he was really kind of disappointed in the political consciousness of the young room that he was in when he came in. The Panthers were alive and fighting. So I just wanted you guys to comment a little bit on just how you see a more revolutionary consciousness developing within young people today. I don't know. It's a big question, but maybe you can just speak your own impressions quickly about it. I know it's a hard one.
It's a good one. Great question.
I think what we're seeing right now that although a lot has been done, a lot of resources have been used to silence the voice of the working people in this country, we're finding now that it's either, you know, make your voice be heard or die. In New York City right now, there's a plan to close down over 55 schools. This is on this, you know, in the same city that has Wall Street. They're planning to close down 55 schools. People are getting foreclosed in their homes. You know, and this is after the same banks that bankrupted the world were bailed out by taxpayer dollars. The same people who are getting their kids' schools shut down, the same people who are getting thrown out of their houses. So I think that what we're finding right now is just like the brother M said before, you know, it's a fight for our life, and this system is collapsing. And if we are to live, if we were to have a livelihood, it's going to be by struggling. You know, welfare is, food stamps are being cut by 30% right now. I mean, and these are services that people depend on to live on an everyday basis. So I think that what we're finding right now is that, you know, lies are good and smoke and mirrors are good, but that the sound of the belly and the truth of a hungry stomach trumps all that. And, you know, we're going to keep on pushing that hand.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think people are starting to open their eyes. I mean, there's only so long you could keep everything in the dark before it comes out in the light. So people, you know, are starting to open their eyes to and realizing that we've been deceived for a long time, you know, by governments, by a lot of institutions, you know, a lot of, you know, even like, you know, Hollywood, radio, whatever. So, you know, that combined with just the reality of the fact, like, you know, my man Esteban just touched on, you know, the loss of jobs, the loss of schools, you know, when we're already in a dire state. I think it's just that combined with, how can I say it, desperation. I mean, it's only natural, of course, you know, people are going to start speaking up, you know what I mean? And that's just the beginning of it, you know what I mean? So, I mean, you see it worldwide, people, I mean, taking, you know, more active measures to let themselves be heard. And, you know, I think right now the U.S., you know, we might be in the background a little, and it's just starting to develop now. But, you know, being that, you know, we're in this bubble that the media creates for us, we're unable to see, you know, the bigger picture around the world of what's going on. But, you know, I think, you know, with the internet and, you know, just a lot of information at our disposal, is becoming increasingly more difficult for the powers to be to continue to lie to us and deceive us. So I think people, you know, younger people are beginning to get hip to that, you know what I'm saying, opening their eyes. So, I mean, that's what you're seeing. I think all of this is just a result of that, people opening their eyes.
You know, I want to say revolutionary love and salute, rest in freedom to Geronimo. Geronimo Jajaga is a father figure to me. You know, it's through his legacy that we're able to do what we do. So just remembering his legacy, one thing he said was when we at war, you know, truth is the first casualty. And so take it, and we've been at war. Like, the war has been waged on us for so long. The conditions that mentally and physically oppress me are the same ones that physically and mentally oppress my father, you know, and his father, you know. So when he says that, when Geronimo says that truth is the first casualty, it takes years for that underlying lie and the real presence of what's the information, the truth. It takes years for that to unveil itself. And I think right now we're in a great time. We're in this moment where we went through the George Bushes and such blatant disrespect as it relates to the citizens of this country, more officially as the oppressed citizens of this country. You talk about the black and the brown, the minorities of this country, as it relates to how we've been oppressed over the last 20 years. It's very similar to the 60s, and is a mental oppression now. So, you know, I've yet to see the thrive that I want to see in my community, especially from the younger cats, driving the edge to making a change. But I've seen the change there, and it makes me very hopeful, and it also makes me continue to walk into the legacy of those great fathers like Geronimo and so many more that came before us. So, you know, it's nothing new under the sun either. We're taking words and feelings that we got from these great leaders, and we're trying to resound them to the younger generation right now. So hopefully we can play our part in it, and it can continue to grow.
I think the biggest piece of it is really having some of those conversations with young folks, and I think what a lot of what goes on now, it serves as a distraction to them, so they don't necessarily get to see what's really going on. So when you talk about how much, you know, what food stamps are getting cut, yeah, that sort of is a 5-second, you know, piece of information on the news, but how much are kids having those conversations? And I think that the more that we are willing to engage children in those young people in those conversations, the more that they're going to realize that things need to change. When you talk about the struggles of our father was also, we had that conversation about the struggles that he had to experience. So we're able to pick that up and figure out how can we take that forward. And I think that that's the biggest piece of it for young folks today, is really engaging them and sort of showing them this is what's going on. And I think you're right. I think what everyone has said now is that it's starting to happen slowly, maybe not as quickly as we want it to happen, but it's starting to happen. So
there's hope. I want to say just very quickly that it's very important that we begin traditions of resistance. And I think what Geronimo alluded to more so was not that there was not the strength for the youth to understand or be able to erect an actual resistance against the system that's here, is that the mantle has been forced down by U.S. Repression at the highest. I mean, in ways that we've not seen repression in any other place in the world, where they cut down our leadership in broad daylight and bloodied our memories of them, planted fear inside the youth and inside the wombs of what would be the youth, then salted the ground with crack cocaine and heroin and now hip-hop music, and there's nothing can grow. And then you wonder why. And I think the thing is, the legacy of hip-hop has not continued because of that kind of repression. And it's not our fault. They didn't want us to remember what Geronimo was able to do. They don't want us to remember the importance of Malcolm. They would have us not remember Assata Shakur. And in that way, we are at a loss. We're at a deficit as the youth and as the young people. But here we are, nonetheless, the rose growing from the concrete, as Tupac would put it. Here is evidence of the youth, even though we're not the youngest of the youth. We the youth, here in your face, saying that the revolution is not dead, that we will create institutions and traditions and a legacy of resistance for our youth to pick up and continue, because that's the most important thing. As we strive generation after generation, we reach our goals. So power to our youth and power to our next generations.
Okay, Mike, first of all, I want to tell you, our camera woman here, Fida Kishta's.
And this is for Gaza?
Well, we're going to send it to Gaza.
Okay.
We're going to connect it with the left forum stuff, but we want to have something to send back to the people that she's representing.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to say it like this. Are you ready? Are you ready? My name is M1 and one half of Dead Prez. I'd like to first say Free Palestine. From the West Bank to Gaza, stop U.S. imperialism and the embargo against our human rights. And that got to be said, and that it comes from the Black Liberation or the African Liberation Army in America in solidarity with this movement around the world. So that's where this comes from. And this song is about sacrifice, and it's about some of my heroes. And it goes, Twyman Meyer set him on fire. He was down with the BLA. He was 16 when he picked his team and sacrifice was made. When I say sacrifice, I don't mean to do nothing stupid. Participation is the best education, said Huey Newton. Scared money don't make no money, that's what they say in them streets. And victory is so sweet versus the agony of defeat. I'd rather die on my knees than live as a coward up in these streets than fuck dying. Let's stop dying. If you're with it, then let's get free. The youth brigade, ever so brave, never get led to the slaughter. The next to take the future, they the best of the sons and daughters. My back to the wind, my feet to the ground, I'm putting it down for the crown. But not no colony, fuck them is my philosophy, that's what I'm about. I learned from the Palestinians and the Mexican EZLN. The government that's down with imperialism can't be your friend. They bad boy politicians saying, show me the Benjamins. But I'm throwing up RBG until the end. Take your sacrifice. Power to the people.